No, prime example.
Who remembers TV? Television, commercial, back to the television program, and people came to watch the content and got sold to in the meantime.
What I really want for all of you is to get to the content that does well to inform your content going forward.
What exactly works sometimes is the exact thing you don't want to do again.
It's that scattered greatness rather than consistently being great.
That was a bar. What'd you say? Was poppin', was poppin', was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And on this episode, we're going to be talking about why new launches are needed in your business. And no, it has nothing to do with money, even though it's there. The new docuseries on Netflix, Beckham. We got to talk about it, what lessons that I got out of it. The pros and cons of creativity. Are there any cons of creativity? Actually, there is, and it's really surprising. How to go from views to sales. We got the top entrepreneurs giving us some content tips and strategies on how to actually create content that converts. Moose, how we feel about this episode?
Hey, you literally cannot grow your brand or business without utilizing the strategies in this one. So make sure y'all tap in.
Let's get into this intro.
2 kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never before seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
And of course, you know this episode is powered by Ecamm Live, the #1 all-in-one streaming platform that not only allows you to stream on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, that whole nine, but it is amazing for pre-recorded videos, such as a podcast like ours, such as courses and trainings that you may have. It also does great for Zooms and Google Meetups. It's amazing, or meetings, however you want to put it. Meetups, meetings, blah, blah, blah. But we're giving away 14 days for free on us if you go to www.nickyandmoose.com/ecamm for that 14-day trial. Moose, how we feeling?
Man, feeling pretty good. I am finally reacclimated. I realized that my schedule gets thrown off a little bit when we have our travel events, just because unlike the traditional Saturday, Sunday events, we do Sunday, Monday events. And so I end up batching 2 weeks together, right? So it's like you have a full work week, you travel Sunday, then you do event Sunday, Monday, then travel back home Monday night. And then Tuesday, you wake up to the rest of the work week. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make a change to that in 24 because that thing is starting to catch up a little bit. But no, man, things are pretty good. That's actually, my big lesson for the week is try something new. You have to put things out that keep not just your clients or customers or your audience engaged and to showcase the growth that you have been experiencing, but to keep yourself challenged and on your toes as well. So we rolled out a new boot camp, in the extreme execution or for extreme execution. And this was more so business development focused, which has really been the thing that I have been working on primarily in the last 18 months. And so it was nice to extract everything that I've learned and really look for the underlying themes or similarities in everything that was done and bring that forth. So leading up to it, I was like, man, why am I so anxious? Like not stressed, but just anxious. Like it's good anxious where you're doing something for the first time again. And in comparison to, let's say, our certification event, that event has become so easy for me. No disrespect to anyone that attends, but I don't have to prep for it anymore. It's like the slides are done, everything is ready. You just show up, you talk, and everything comes out and it goes according to plan. But for this one, there was planning for 3 months prior, even some last minute adjustments in the days leading up to. So that was a big lesson for me, man. No matter how much or how deep you are into your, business or entrepreneurship journey, keep launching and trying new things just to challenge yourself. And the part that I thought was super beneficial is that it really spoke to many of the needs of the people in the community. So that was a win-win, man. Challenged us, bless the people. That's always a win-win.
That's good. So
Yeah.
what about this particular, I wouldn't say launch, but this particular program make you nervous? I mean, it's in the same field you've been doing, pretty much the same audience that you've been talking to, but what made this one different?
It's the way things will play out, right? So when you're planning something, you come up with ideas, things are in your head, you even have them on paper and you're organizing and structuring. But the one thing that you don't know is how people will respond to those concepts when there is a large group of people in the room, right? You might even bounce back and forth with a couple of people on the team. And it's like, okay, that sounds good in theory. It's still on paper. At the end of the day, when you transfer that to a real live event, that's the final piece, the final feedback that you need to know, okay, from a functionality standpoint, from an event flow standpoint, from even the flow of information so that people are not feeling overwhelmed or they're clearly understanding the assignments. All of that is important because, one of the focuses, for example, for this one was to really make sure people are able to work on the information during the event. It's not something that you just learn a bunch of stuff, then go home and have to work on it on your own. No, you can work on it right there. The big thing I was always thinking about was, when you ever been in a Zoom room or you are a part of a breakout room or you send people to breakouts, everything sounds great when everyone's in the main room. Mm-hmm. The minute everyone goes to the breakout, they're like, wait, so what are we doing?
Yes.
So what happened?
Yes.
So I was like, I really don't want that to happen at the event. Like, I want to make sure when people go into their breakouts, they're clear on what the instructions are. So that was the final piece that, and it kept me a little anxious in terms of, all right, do I have all my bases covered for how this new format should flow? So yeah, it was nice though. Definitely worth all the time that went into it.
And when's it going to happen again?
Going to take place again next year. We don't have a date for it yet because the event was really almost a launch pad for a group of coaches and consultants who we'll work with for 2024. They will be almost our primary focus as it relates to the concepts that were introduced. So I want to do one of these again, at least another one, but probably either late into Q1 or sometime in Q2, just so that we can stagger the launch times a little bit. I don't want to say, okay, 20 people, and then January you bring on another 20 people, and then it's like, okay, it's no longer 20 people. That's 40 people, double the workload, same resources. So I would say definitely sometime next year, either end of Q1 or sometime in Q2. That'll be the plan.
I'm mad at that. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. For me, I was watching. There's a few things I was watching. I'm gonna start with one. David Beckham, the Netflix joint. Did you see that one yet?
I have not, but I know David Beckham, of course. I mean, dude is killing it.
I was watching it, just curious, right? One, I don't watch football or soccer. I don't understand how big this dude is. I'm just trying to understand what the big hype is, right? Just trying to understand. So how they documented this docuseries, first off, these episodes feel mad long, like extremely long. I'm only on episode 2. I felt like I've been watching it for like 8 hours. It's extremely long. But the one thing that sticks out to me with this one is the balance of work and play. One, he was going, I guess it was like England versus Argentina. That's the big one that he messed up in and got booed for months, and the whole country was, you're a disgrace, that whole 9.
Wow.
And all because he wanted to see his fiance. Like, he kept going different places. Like, he'll always drive over there for 4 hours and only see her for, 7 minutes. Now, the girlfriend, now wife, used to be a Spice Girls, right? His coach and some of his teammates were like, you're distracted. You don't know what you're doing. Football comes first. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I get it. This is a very important sport, extremely important, brings a whole country together. But we don't believe in balance. We don't believe in like you having a personal life. It sounded very go, go, go. Football is life, and that's all you're supposed to do, and that whole nine. And he still tried to balance it. And when the team lost, it was his fault. I'm like, there are so many other people on this team, and even the coach blamed it on him. Mind you, he had just heard that day before that game, like I think the same day, that his fiance was pregnant. So mind-boggling is like we see when it comes to the greats, we see the greats struggle or there is mention of work-life balance. And we see what they pick and what they don't pick and how the consequences that it's done. Whether you don't pick the personal life and you go through your own feelings about that. You don't really have great relationships. You have all the materialistic things in the world, but no one to share it with. We've seen that situation. Now we've seen one where you pick the personal life and now the whole country's against you. Brings up the great question again of, is work-life balance really a thing? Is it really a thing to those who are meant for greatness? Because is it a thing? It is.
Yeah.
But if you are meant to execute on a certain level, does it really exist? Or do you just get to a point that you've accomplished everything and now you put priority to those things? It made me think about that. I haven't finished watching it. I'm going to. It's just for some reason just feels so long. And the accents is the accents. Like it is, you hear that UK accent serious.
Strong.
And I'm like, I'm like, okay, all right, that's fine. But that's one thing that I learned. Another thing I learned was from a book, and I wanted to talk to you about it because it smacked me on my head. So I'm reading The Win Without Pitching Manifesto.
Okay.
Very good book. I think Marshall recommended it, but I'm not sure. They said, so the pros and cons of creativity. The pros of creativity, of course, bring fresh thinking to old problems. It just gives a great energy towards it. But the con to it is that it can serve as a rationale for not choosing a focus. And by not doing that, you're not eliminating competition.
You're not eliminating competition?
Yeah. So instantly what I think about that is like the whole, there's no other competition. When people say I'm not in competition with nobody, I'm in a lane all by myself. All right, I'm in a lane, I'm done doing what I want. As a creator, I do come up with multiple ideas when one is boring or one has met what it needs to do, and then I'm off to the next one. But if I was to just stay focused on this one thing instead of creating multiple things, and now, okay, look at all the stuff that I've done, but I haven't hit that same spot over and over again to be undeniable number one in that situation.
You know what's interesting is that there is, you might have heard the name, he's an author in the consulting and advice giving space, Alan Weiss. He wrote Consulting Bible and Value-Based Fees, I think is another book that he wrote. He's completely against the idea of picking a niche. And so he's probably the only person who speaks so strongly against that, which is like, don't pick a niche. You're going to limit your opportunities. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. And that's really one of the only people who I've heard talk about that. I follow more of what you mentioned, right? That not just only picking a niche, but a little bit of what we talked about last week, trying to look for a sub niche, almost something that gives you that unique opportunity. And I'm still like, it's not systematic enough for me to just duplicate it. So that's why, I definitely appreciate artists for that reason, or creatives for that reason. Because like, that's a lot of new ways to be able to infuse emotions into something so people can connect with it beyond just the black and white, the funnel creators. The funnel creators.
I'm just saying, so I believe you're super creative in the things that you do. But what I've come to realize is that if one doesn't feel as if they are creating something visual, that they're not creative, or there's no such thing as artistry in their life. That's what they assume that is. And I'm like, if you create anything, period, I
Yeah, that's
can't do
good.
what you do. There's no way, shape, or form I'll be bored. I can't do it. I don't want to. And there's things I do you can't do. You're not nor where interested in doing. I just look at it that way because I think more, and I think it's because people who could do visuals in a talented way wish they can do the back end systems stuff a lot more, because we look at that like as, oh my God, if I only had these particular things, my life would be amazing. I can't even think like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. The two people need each other, that's for sure.
That's a fact.
They need each other.
That's a fact. Let's get into the creator of the week. And this creator goes as your rich BFF. Vivian 2, I want to say that it's TU. If I said it wrong, I'm sorry, Vivian. I apologize. But I came across her content on everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, and it's one of those accounts that will give you tips about how to get your money back if your flights are delayed, how to put a Roth IRA from your kids. She gives all these different tips, and here's one. Just so you can have.
Going to the movies is so expensive now. It's $20 for a ticket plus my life savings for snacks. You're paying to see the movie? Yeah, some of us aren't criminals who just sneak in. I don't sneak in. I have Amazon Prime. I said movie theater. I don't want to just watch at home. Yeah, I know. Prime Premiere allows Amazon Prime customers to sign up for exclusive early screenings to view Amazon's original movies and series at their local theaters for no cost. In addition to scoring a free ticket to the movie premiere, these screenings can include photo ops, complimentary concessions, and special giveaways. Wait, I have Amazon Prime. How do I do this? You can reserve up to 2 tickets in advance at primepremiere.amazon. Screenings start at 7 p.m. local time, and before the screening, don't forget to grab your complimentary popcorn and soda.
I'm definitely going to check into that. But she gives tips like that all the time, and it's so good. I believe she has a podcast too. But go check her out. I think her username is Your Rich BFF. Literally, Your Rich BFF. Go check out her content. Moose, do you know of this creator?
I have seen her. I don't know her by name, but I have definitely seen her content. So brand awareness is definitely up, Vivian.
There we go. Look at that. So go check it out if you want all those tips, because she's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's
now, topic of the week, pretty much, is how to go from views to sales, right? We gathered some of the best content creation tips, everything from how to pretty much get the idea and set it up to what exactly to create to actually convert from sales to subscriptions, email lists, whatever you are converting to, right? So the first one actually comes from someone we've talked about several times on this podcast, which is Chris Doe.
Drop and give me 20. Okay, so that's the military exercise to say, like, if you're in good physical condition, you should be able to drop and give me 20 push-ups right now. So for people, sit down and think, what are the 20 things in my life that I know that could be valuable to somebody to the point in which they would pay me to know those things? And really sit down and work on this and write, and your first time articulating an idea should not be on camera. Really just sit down and build structure, build an outline to what it is that you want to say, find supporting information, go some research, find some quotes, and then now you've got some meat on the bones. Then put that content out there.
Okay. I really have come to believe that before you put a product out to the marketplace, before you even pick up the camera and start creating content, because I know that seems to be the highway to success in terms of content creation because of how valuable and important it is. I think a lot of us have become, I don't want to say overlooked, but we've undermined the importance of being good at something or really being well read, well studied, being able to articulate ourselves incredibly well for some of these concepts. So that spot is so important. It's one of the core things that, we've been talking a lot about recently, which is go beyond the norm, and I can tell now because I've been listening to some content, and I'm grateful to be at a point where I can listen and know. And I don't know if you can ever realize this too, Nix, but you can listen to some people's content and know how long they've been in the space for, just based on what they say, right? It's like, okay, great visuals, everything is amazing, but there's a lot of entry level delivery that lets me know you're on the right path, but you just need a little bit more work. And granted, everyone has to start somewhere, but I do believe that idea to be able to expand on the drop and give me 20 concept that he just broke down, I just think of it as having some form of multi-layered phase to communicate and teach people or just really explain this area that you specialize in. How do you explain it for beginners? And once a beginner is able to understand how to do that thing, what does the next level look like and what does the expert level look like, right? Because it should be multifaceted in a sense. So I really like this concept. Before you jump on camera, become well-read, well-researched, well-versed on the thing that you're trying to deliver to, of course, help people along the way.
That's good. So the next one comes from Brandon Carter, a famous fitness trainer who's all over YouTube at a certain point. But he talks about content creation as kind of dividing it into tasks.
Here's how you can consistently post content to make sure you make more money. So when most people do a post, they do everything at once, right? They make the content, they edit it, they write the caption, and then they post it. What you want to do is batch those tasks. This is the same tactic I use to grow my YouTube page from 0 to over 700,000 followers. So on Monday, I would film all the content for the week. Tuesday, I would edit all the content. Wednesday, I would make all the thumbnails. On Thursday, I would upload and schedule all of the videos. And I did this every week. I adopted a similar strategy when I started doing Instagram. And that's how I was able to grow my Instagram to over 700,000 followers. The benefit of doing it like this is because those are all different tasks. And when you have to switch from one task to another, you lose time. Tasks take a lot longer to accomplish. When you batch similar tasks together, start to get into a flow. You're able to get through them way quicker than if you had to switch from task to task to task.
I ain't gonna hold you. I think that's genius. I never thought of it in that kind of way. The way that I do things is like I'll have an idea and then I'll create it real quick. And at the same time that I'm creating, I'm thinking the captions, I'm about to post it, distribute. So I'm doing everything all at once. And I never thought about, of course, we hear about batching content. I think that part was very obvious, but batching the titles, batching the artwork that goes with it, batching the captions and the video descriptions, and then batching the scheduling out. That is something that I never really even explored until watching that. And I was just like, yo, that actually makes a lot of sense and could probably allow your brain to just think in a more focused way. Like I know right now, all I got to worry about is talking to this camera. That's it. I don't got to worry about nothing else about the creative process. Cool. I just got to worry about the thumbnails. I don't have to worry about the edit of the videos right now. I don't have to worry about the written part. So I think this is something that we should at least explore to see if this could work for us. Some people are the all-in-one situation. And if that works out perfect for you, cool. But especially in the beginning, and if you get overwhelmed and haven't been consistent on a regular basis, this may be a system that you should try to see if, hey, this is going to allow me the freedom to think of new ideas, the freedom to go scale my business because I'm not concentrating on everything of the creative process all at once. I'm able to do other things. So I really like what Brandon said on that one. But let's get into the third tip, right? And the third tip comes from, I think his name is Stephen G. Pope. Stephen G. Pope, talking about, now we're getting into the details of what exactly to put into your content so it can convert.
People do like how-to information, but what they really care more about is, do you know where they want to go? Can you show some expertise or some knowledge that you understand that person and where they're at? Do you use the same language they do? These are all things that are helping build trust for them to even entertain the process of listening to you in the first place. And then displaying some of that empathy and authority that you're an expert. And only then will they really listen to the how-to information. But they really don't care so much about that. That will then further solidify whether they want to work with you or not. But that's how you have to think about it. You have to give somebody a specific action that's going to alleviate some pain they have and develop the story such that they even believe that you're the one to give them that advice.
So here we're seeing the transition of going from just general content to now introducing a little bit of the selling, right? And you're realizing the importance of not just introducing yourself without having to formally introduce yourself, right? When people look at your social media, obviously they know your name. And so I've always found that to be an interesting way how some people can master it and some people almost completely avoid it and can butcher it from time to time. So when he's talking about, really showing that you know the person that you're talking to, right? It's that understanding of the audience, their needs, their desires and pain points. That's that first connection layer that someone's going to listen to and say, okay, you got my attention because why? You're speaking my language. And so that's the first almost foundational element to now wanting to set yourself up to introduce a solution. Now, notice he downplays the how-to a little bit because while how-to content is helpful, and if it's not, I don't want to say a very specialized part, or there's some parts of how-to that are standard across many different industries. And so when you talk about why someone is going to want to work with you versus work with someone else, it's because of those other elements that are included in the content or yourself. It could be your personality style. It could be any other element that is going to help push that. So it's funny, we've had to walk some people off the ledge and saying, okay, you're saying all the politically correct things. And guess what? They sound great. Can't take that away from you. But you know what it also sounds like? Very robotic and unrelatable. And so I know that we think that we want to have the perfect pitch or the perfect content because that's what's going to help us, say, convert and get more sales. But in reality, I find it crazy that so many of us want perfection, but we don't relate with perfection. Think about it. Very few of us say, man, I relate with this person because they're so perfect. They've had the perfect upbringing. They wear the perfect clothes all the time. They say all of the perfect things. Yeah, you might maybe admire someone like that, but you're not necessarily, say, pushed to action by someone like that, right? We, especially in today's marketplace, are connecting with people who are a lot more real and raw and relatable to us. So this is the part where I say, yes, have your how-to content and all of these structured elements ready to go, but don't mute some of the unique parts of you that really help people to say, okay, this is why I actually like this person, even if they don't know why. That part is equally as important. And then the last thing, of course, and I think this is super important too, which is speaking with authority. You can play back and listen to your own content or your own stuff on video or audio and just listen to some of the words that you use. If you're using words that seem as though you're guessing, I talked about a little bit about this last week when I talked about this is why I'm grateful for the podcast, because it helped me to eliminate that. And I've become aware of the fact that, you use a lot of those unsure, wishy-washy kind of words. You want to satisfy everybody. Wipe that away, just stand on what you believe and go. So that's another place to look for, but also a way to practice it is literally just listen back to yourself and try to get a lot of that language out, because it's more of a language thing than anything else.
That's so good. So the next tip actually comes from Shopify. Shopify has been dropping some cool tips if y'all caught it, but we got one for you.
Second tip, you're gonna make a sandwich. You're gonna format your content like this. Content, call to action, content. Who remembers TV? That was literally a content marketing sandwich at its finest. It was like television, commercial, back to the television program, and people came to watch the content and got sold to in the meantime, right?
So this goes towards something that even Gary Vee talks about, which is, jab, jab, right hook, right? You don't, however you want to go about it. In this video, they talk about pretty much value, sale, value, right? Gary Vee will talk about jab, jab, right hook. So that's value, sales, right? The important part that you're getting out of this is you don't want to only sell. I was actually on Content Corner. I go live every Wednesday on Instagram Live, right? And somebody was like, yo, look at my page. And when I looked at their page, it was all sales flyers or them talking about the actual business, where I'm like, I don't even know what this is. Like, I don't know what you do. Like, I think this person was like an adjuster. I don't know what an adjuster is for me to even know if could be your client or not. I'm not really sure. Or there's not necessarily information that can even make me curious to even want that.
Right.
And that's where content comes in, because content is just telling the story about why we need it, not what it is and what it can do for me. It's more of the story of why I need this.
Right.
Why does this add value into my life? I don't necessarily care what you've done, all your accolades, that's cool. And to some that builds credibility, but that can't be every single one of your posts. Add value, do a call to action. Post value. Hey, deeper than the brand. Post value. Hey, flight assessment and stream execution. You could clearly see that we are trying to give you information that is beneficial for you, but we're also trying to make you aware of all the stuff that we have going on, because it is still the business. It's still, we still got to sell certain things here and there. With your content, find a healthy balance of how do I still add value to my audience and to my future customers and clients, but then as well as inform them and direct them to where they need to go for the transformation that my brand does. That's what I say.
That's good. That's good.
Now I do got a bonus one that I kind of want both of us to talk about. We can't talk about content without I brought up Gary Vee already once, but I found this part that really goes based off what content we should be creating. And sometimes we've already done it, but we probably just overlooked it. So this is what he said about this.
What I really want for all of you is to get to the content that does well to inform your content going forward. So I'm less worried about how well each individual piece goes for all of you. I want you to take more at-bats to be better at it. So right now what's happening is too many people are trying to be cute and like higher quality, less quantity, deep down because it's easier, because it's work, it's hard. You got other things, I get it. I'm not judging, but I'm trying to tell everybody, you're all trying to get better at tennis. And if you practice 5 days a week instead of 3 days a week, you'll be better at tennis in 24 months. One of the things I'm concerned about is when people go with that model is they're not doing enough pieces of content to figure out the thing that's gonna work.
So the going back, especially to analytics, and find out what exactly works, sometimes is the exact thing you don't want to do again. Of course, so I agree with him. Go back. Your whole blueprint is in your analytics. It's stuff you've already done. But we think that we always have to create something new, so we don't really go back and check it. But if we was to just check it, it literally tells us your audience likes this. The platform actually gives you more exposure when you do this, right? And of course, not exactly in that plain text, but you will see by numbers of what works and what doesn't. So Moose, I actually want to go to you with this because it's like you've done content for a bit, and there's probably stuff that if you go in your analytics would be like screaming, "This worked," and you're like, "I understand that. However, I
Yeah.
don't see this working in this season." So, like, how do you battle with the information? Because if this was a regular business, you would go based off the facts of this works. We're going to continue to do what this works. Why is it different when it comes to a creative product like
Yeah.
media?
Yeah, I mean, and I think the part that Gary Vee is talking to is being able to develop the skill that allows you to reproduce what works consistently for a time being, right? Or not for a time being, but consistently over time. Versus, okay, this works and I'm going to wait a little bit and bring something and try something and okay, that works, right? It's that scattered greatness rather than consistently being great. And so that I know.
First of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Right? That was a bar. What'd you say?
Yeah, I mean, scattered greatness versus being consistently great over time. That's what I feel he was talking to there when he says, posting less but with greater quality versus everything I post is great quality, right? It's like quality in quantity. It's like you're breaking the code, right? That's ultimately the thing that everyone is up against. So I think to break the matrix in that sense is super powerful. But quite honestly, I have not let that stop me. I've gone back, especially as I have gotten more comfortable on camera and with the platforms and engaging with my audience. I've talked a lot, especially over the last 6 weeks or so, that I have for a long time engaged with social media through the second part of that word, or that second part of the phrase, which is media. Yes, I've engaged by posting videos and photos and content, but I have not been social on social media. And so now I make it way more of a goal of mine to interact. I know how I feel when I get comments. I know how I feel when I get engagement and interaction, or that quote unquote social aspect of my content. So I try to recreate that for somebody else, because I feel like, and again, shout out to Daryl, man, because I really have paid attention to that. He might have, I don't even know if he realized how impactful that point that he made was when he said, best practices no longer work when everyone starts to do them. They don't have or deliver the same effect anymore because everyone's doing them. And so when there's competition in the marketplace around something that everyone's running to, it doesn't hit the same. So I have really paid attention to that. And I know a lot of us are advised to comment on everyone or respond to everyone who comments to us because it's great engagement. But it's really beneficial for you as a creator when you do it on your own post. But when you go to somebody else's post and you comment on their post because you genuinely connect with the content or you support the message and what they're doing, it breaks the mold, right? It engages just an organic social factor. So that's the part that I have been doing. But all of that to say, I have gone back and reposted the exact content, stuff that works. Like my most viewed video ever on Instagram, I think it got somewhere north of, this is my quote unquote viral moment. It got somewhere in the vicinity of like 400,000 views. I might have posted it probably 11 or 12 months ago. Just recently, about 3 weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I'm going to bring this one back. You'd be surprised. It did the exact same thing. It did major numbers, the same exact clip. It was like, I changed nothing, but maybe I believe I changed the filter and I changed the way the captions came up on the video. That was the only thing I changed. Everything else was almost exactly the same. And it did very similar numbers. So I have done that part. I'm curious your take though, because I guess I want to know, are you saying, hey, go back and just repost the content that has performed? Or are you saying go back and study the content that has performed and think about how to recreate more of that same content? I guess you're saying the latter, right?
I think a little bit of both. I do believe sometimes just straight up reposting still works. I do it myself. but I do believe the content format and the topics is already in our analytics based off what we've done in the past that we should look into and be like, okay, how do I maximize this even more? How can I milk this out even more? So normally when we're talking about creating content, it is based off our audience pain points that we're talking about. So for me, if I was talking about, let's say, introverts not liking creating videos, they don't like to be in front of the camera. So I can see that the 2 videos that I did talk about that, they did great. Did I cover all the solutions to that problem? Is there different ways that people see that problem as? Maybe not as direct as I said it, or maybe they think video is king right now and that's all everybody is doing, but they can't find a consistent flow of doing videos. Come to find out, they don't necessarily like doing videos because they don't like being in front of the camera because they're not that type. So I'm just wording it a different way, finding out different trigger words to get their attention. And I just have to go, okay, boom, my audience responds to this topic. My audience responds to that topic. My audience loves reels. My audience like for the podcast right now, our audience loves carousels. Now we know that I could go about a different topic, but I could do it in a carousel. I can talk about for introverts, but I could talk about it in just a different way or just show them an example of what to do to create videos without being in front of the camera. It's really for me a little bit of both to really like leverage all the data that has been collected.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I have to try that because, I just translated that into one piece of your content that performed really well may have been talking about, like you said, introverts afraid to get in front of the camera. And so you gave them one strategy for being able to build confidence on camera. But maybe you have 5 strategies overall for doing that. So going back and give them strategy number 2 and 3 and so on. So I haven't done that. I haven't gone back and looked at performance and recreated based on that. I have just simply reposted, but that's good. I'm going to do it. So I'm hoping some of y'all listen do too, man. You know what I'm saying? That's good.
Yay! So you let us know if these content tips has helped to go from views to sales. That was the topic of the day, but we got to go into the question of the week. Of course, this segment is sponsored by flightassessment.com. Discover your personal superpowers and learn how to use your superpowers to become a master communicator, strengthen all your relationships, and develop the self-awareness you need to fulfill your highest potential. Flightassessment.com. And this question comes from Deeper Than the Brand. So if you're not part of that community, you can't ask us questions. I'm just saying. Should a brand position itself as exclusive and premium or accessible and mass market? Moose, what is your thoughts?
My opinion has really grown on this concept. Again, another one of those things that you asked me, 1 year ago, I would give you. Yeah, literally, it's one of those things. When you asked me about it 10, 12 months ago, it's one answer. Today's a different answer. But my personal preference has always been premium and exclusive. And I don't know if it's a strategic desire than more of a personality preference and a way of, in all transparency, not having to document or maybe take on the pressure of feeling as though I have to document every single piece of my journey or business or life, et cetera, et cetera. For some reason, and as I think about it now, I reflect on this piece, I probably have translated available as in sharing like available on camera per se, not accessible. And those are two different terms, but I think that's probably the difference I got to go back and revisit. So I know long-term for me, the goal is definitely to be accessible for all. And of course, really within reach for any and everybody. And again, I know that goes against the quote unquote, real standards of doing something, but that's just how I see it. But as of right now, my personal preference is still the premium and exclusive because of how people treat your product and service when they associate it with that status or class. I feel that for some reason, people, when they make a larger investment into something, they care for it completely different. I was going to use the example of like sneakers. When you invest into a pair of sneakers, especially a pair of exclusive, let's say J's, right from behind Nick's wall there, versus, I don't know, some gym shoes that you just picked up to literally go work out in, you're gonna walk differently. Like I love the memes of that show people like guys when they're about to propose and they got a pair of J's on and then they take the kneel, but they protect the crease. It's like, yo, this is a something that I invested in, so I'm going to care for it. So my point is, I've always appreciated being a part of groups and communities where people invest deeply into something, and so they approach it with a certain level of work ethic and appreciation for the time valued, and price is also used as a gatekeeper. And that could be a good or a bad thing, right? But it depends, I guess, on how you look at it.
I believe a brand should have both, right? I really do. And the reason why I say that is I'm a people's person. So I always do want to be available for the people, but I do want to reward some of the people who've been rocking with me the most and who understand that certain access or certain information isn't necessarily going to be available all the time. Where there could be a course that's available 24/7. Anytime that you want to buy it, cool, get that. But a one-on-one may be limited, or a coaching program can be limited to how many people can have a seat to it, or as far as when you can register to it. I would say that's how you can make it exclusive or limited. Just from an educational brand to just be super exclusive has its pros and cons. Because let's say if we look at, let's say an ET, his content is always available, but to get him per se, that's kind of limited and exclusive, right? There's a certain price point that doesn't attract to everybody. Now, if he was trying to get to everybody, he'll probably have to lower his price so he can be accessible for the masses. But he's not trying to be accessible for the masses. He's just trying to be accessible for those people who truly need him. And those people who see his value will pay that price, right? Even with his group coaching, that whole nine. Product base of any sort, you have to look at it. Are you willing to do a high price point and not everybody saying yes to it? Is that going to mess with your head after a while? Because in the beginning of a luxury brand, depending on how you market it, you may not get the right people right away. Like there may be a lot of like dead days or just not necessarily scaling high because of the price points that you do. And are you okay with that? Because then it could take off with just one or two people that put it right on social media, and then your brand blows up as this great premium joint. Milano, her prices are high, great quality, that whole nine. She's not compromising, but the work that she's done before to make sure that influencers get it, to make sure she highlights everybody who buys it. There was a certain kind of grind to have that luxury price. So if you're willing to do that, cool. If you're true to, I'm going with the exclusive and limited one, once it's sold out, that it's sold out.
Sold out.
Because some people be like, hey, I need it. And you're like, I can sell one more. I can sell one more. Yeah, let me take. And then it actually disregards those people who actually took their time to buy it right away. And you're actually hurting your customers' buying habits than necessarily training them, because you're saying something is sold out or something has 10 spots, 50 spots. And then when they actually come through, they're like, yo, there's like 500 people here. Why did you say that?
Yeah.
I believe in a bit of both. If I had to lean to one, I'm always going to go with the limited and the exclusive, just because you're allowed to price it at a point that doesn't make you feel, I'm going to say used. That's so
Desperate.
bad. Desperate.
Desperate?
I like that. Desperate.
Yeah.
Desperate words.
Yeah, because you got to think about the difference. Yeah, my bad. I was just going to say, you got to think about the difference between why is it that some people sell something at a low rate and it's looked at with great levels of optimism, and you might say, wow, this person is so giving or such a good person, right? They're charitable, whatever the case may be. And other people who sell at a very low rate and you're just like, well, it's cheap. And the difference is it's someone started at premium and exclusive or really built to establish themselves there. And once they're at that status, they have brought down all the barriers so that they can give people access, and that's why ultimately for me, I look at education as one of those things. But you can't start by saying, hey, I'm going to sell all my programs for $1. It's like, okay, sounds great in theory, but who are you? Like, what have you accomplished? Because we don't want to learn from someone who values his stuff
and they
at
don't
$1.
do anything for $1. Leave it free. Leave it free. They're not going to do anything for $1.
Straight up. In education, it's one of those spaces where you have a pretty limited overhead. I'm not going to say it's very low, but you have limited overhead. In most cases, especially if you run yourself rather lean and you can function at a pretty profitable rate. So you run lean. So you can afford to sometimes reduce your costs, depending on the program, of course. I don't want to just throw that out there for everybody. But yeah, when you put it out there and they don't make value of it, that's where it's like, okay, maybe I should spike these prices again.
Pricing always goes based off, do they see the value?
Yeah.
Do they see the value? There's a lot of stuff that I've paid for that I know the price is crazy, but I thought it was valuable at the moment. Can't
Emphasis
really,
on at the moment.
Yeah, some things just didn't stand strong. But oh, this is great. I'm gonna get it. You know what I mean? So no, prime example. We're going a little off topic. Not really. I need to get a new bed. Okay?
Okay.
Need to get a new bed. Follow me with this. In my mind, I had a certain budget. Don't be so eager to get more money because you just spend more money. I'm just letting you know this, okay? Somebody recommended the Tempur-Pedic people, right? That mattress. Cool. I got a flagship store about 10 minutes away. Let me go. In my head, I'll say the price, like 3-4K. 3-4K for a bed. I was like, you know what? I'm not
bed
compromising
and mattress
on quality.
or just bed?
The mattress. I just wanted a new mattress.
Okay, got it.
Right?
Got it, mattress. Okay, yep.
I was like, we're not being cheap, but we're not, not super breaking the bank. Okay, great. I go there, and for those people who don't know, I'm not a shopper. I go, I find what I want, and I leave with what I want. So I go, I sit on the mattress, boom, I want this mattress. They're like, you sure? Yeah, give me this one, right? Cool. It's for blah, 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 blah. Okay, I get it. Well, you need to get a base. Huh? What are you talking about? Yeah, so this type of bed, doesn't necessarily take your base or any other base. Here's the different bases, and this is where it goes from 4 to 8.
For the base, hello.
All together, because you can't just buy the mattress.
Yeah.
And I'm almost like, what happens if I just buy the mattress, put it on top? No, you can't. So now it goes from what I thought I was going to pay, what I found the value of this, to now I don't necessarily see the value so much of the up. Now, granted, the up, down, and no gravity situation did feel amazing. I ain't gonna hold you. But how they changed the prices is like the remote, one was basic, One had all the buttons on it with more features, had a USB situation. And I'm like, I don't know if I see the value
Interesting.
in this. It's nice,
Yeah.
but is this really going to transform in the level that I need? Like, could I go to the basic and for me, it's never about price as long as I know it's the best. Is that the best one? Is that the best one? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But don't give me a huge price and make me think that is the best one just because of how you priced it and the little gadgets you added.
Yeah, no, I forgot about the lesson. Now I just want to know if you bought it or not.
I'm bringing it back. I always bring it back to the lesson. And don't worry. I stay.
I was like, oh, forgot about the lesson.
Yeah, no. You were wrapped in the story. You were wrapped in the story. I got it.
Yeah,
I bring
that
it
was
back
good.
to the lesson. I bring it back. I'm just saying.
Man.
I didn't see the value of the 7,000 to 8,000. So now I'm gonna go look at other things. And if the value makes sense based off other brands, then yeah. And for me, it's not about what has the cheaper price, but what is the best one out of all the things that I need.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, Nick's had me.
He was like, I was into the bed
in the story.
buying story. There was a lesson. So what there was a whole lesson. But did you buy the bed? Did you?
Yeah, but did you buy the bed? That's what I was thinking. I was like, so what happened with the mattress?
Nope. I gotta go shop around. So people, if you know better beds than the Tempur-Pedic people, if you just want to give me a bed, and I know you guys have a certain day trial, but the hassle, here's the thing. I love when they go, try it out, sleep on it, and you can return it if you don't like it. I am not the returner. You feel me? I am not the returner. Will not go in the hassle of finding the number, telling you to come pick it back up, me rearranging everything to what I had so comfortable. Now I have to strip everything and make sure it can be returned. I'm not doing all that.
That's crazy.
Let me get it right.
My mind is so skeptical. I just go straight to, wait, so are you selling me a bed that somebody else slept on and returned in 30 days or 90 days? I just go somewhere else with it. I'm like, nah, hold up.
Yeah, no. So let us know if there's other bed options that I should be looking into. Somebody has told me Sleep Number. I'm going to check Sleep Number. Somebody said Dreamy Cloud or
Purple. Isn't there a brand too? Purple? I think
I heard about that one too.
Once.
I heard about that one too. Wait, listen. Just
vibes.
Send them all my way. Well, look, people, we're a little over as always. You know what I mean? As always, but I had to say the bed story. Do us a favor. One, go check out the after show. The after show's been really fire lately. I don't know if y'all know this. You probably don't because you're not part of the All Access Squad and Apple Podcasts. So go check that out. Follow us on all social media platforms. We are back live on YouTube every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So go check that out. And then, Moose, final words.
Yeah, the difference between a thinker and one who overthinks is action. So the thinker, after they think about what they have to do, they actually take action on what they thought about. An overthinker thinks about what they have to do. They think about it some more, and they completely avoid taking action. So for all my overthinkers out there, stop thinking a little bit, take a little bit more action.